Welcome back to Bloom. June is Alzheimer's and Brain Awareness Month, and we know how devastating this disease can be, not only for the person affected, but also for loved ones and caregivers. Here with some advice to help families know their options, we welcome owner of Seniors Helping Seniors Greater Tampa Bay, Andy Malivuk. Thank you, Andy, so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
We know when we hear the diagnosis of Alzheimer's, it's heartbreaking. We probably have already known it was in the process, and it's so sad we avoid that diagnosis for so long. How widespread is caring for loved ones challenging? How is locally, how many people are dealing with this?
Yeah, so it's very prevalent. Florida is the second largest concentration of people with Alzheimer's and dementia. And being in the Tampa Bay area, that equates to 1 in 8 people, or over 70,000 people.
Wow.
Which is also why this is in the Tampa Bay area, being close to USF, there are a lot of trial programs and resources available because it's so prevalent.
So that's good news and bad news. That's a staggering statistic. I didn't realize that, but it does make sense with Florida being such a huge retirement state. So what are some of the warning signs that it might be time for this professional care?
Yeah, it's important to distinguish between natural aging forgetfulness versus those of early signs of dementia and Alzheimer's. So it's when it starts to impact the daily routine or safety. So someone forgetting their keys every once in a while, that's not a big issue, especially if they can retrace their steps and eventually find it. Or if they're in at the grocery store and they're forgetting a few items, it's when they forget why they're at the grocery store. Or if the keys start popping up in really odd places like the oven or the freezer, those are some signs that are a little bit, deeper issues going on.
It's a little reassuring as someone who didn't realize they were holding their keys in their hands yesterday as I was looking for mine. But obviously a serious problem as it gets along those lines and really changes the trajectory of how a family is going to deal. One of those being cost. It's very, very expensive. So what's the reality of this cost toll on the caregivers when they're dealing with somebody with the disorder?
Yeah, so burnout is real. It happens faster than most people expect. We get phone calls from adult children every day, and the story goes something like, listen, I've been trying to take care of my mom for the past 6 months. I'm working a full-time job. They may also have kids of their own that they're still trying to take care of. So the burnout piles up quickly. They stop sleeping. They start making mistakes at work. And so that burnout is really an issue. And the key thing to remember is that the care recipient, the mom or dad in the situation, they feel that stress as well. And so it's really important to make sure that you know what all your options are for additional support.
That's a good dynamic to talk about because there can be a lot of added pressure for both sides, which we often don't think because we're in the thick of it. How can an adult child have that conversation with their parent? Because it's very sensitive and it can be very sad. It's life-changing.
Yeah. So like with all things, it does depend on the relationship dynamic. But in general, you want to lead with patience and love. Focus on I statements. So instead of saying, you are forgetting to do this, you are having all these issues, you need to go see a doctor, say, I have noticed that you've misplaced your keys in some odd places and you've forgotten your best friend's name a few times. Are you feeling okay? The goal is to open the door. It's not to be perfect and know exactly what to say. It's to open the door to the conversation so that then you can try to guide them towards going to see a doctor.
Let's talk about the next step. What happens?
Yeah, so then and sometimes you don't want to be direct, like, let's go see the doctor.
Right.
Maybe you say, because you've been forgetting this, maybe it could be as simple as a vitamin deficiency, let's go see a doctor. So getting them to open up about that. And then once a doctor is involved, they're going to guide along the way. They're going to get an official diagnosis. Then you can start to get some professional help and care plans in place to help you manage it.
For someone who's delaying taking this step for whatever reason, maybe they don't want to burst the bubble of happiness in a home, but it's obviously taking that toll, which seems like long run, that's going to be even worse. What do you think the best first step is for someone right now?
I would say a phone call. So first of all, if you have siblings, start talking to them, start having the conversation with your parent, and then get in touch with a professional, whether it's your doctor, reaching out to the Alzheimer's group or Alzheimer's Association, so alz.org, or alzheimers.gov, start to get in touch with those professionals that can help guide you.
And then have those conversations. It's great that you introduce the conversations, because so often we're told if there's conflict in a relationship with your significant other, you use those I statements. But I don't think most of us would think the same in a situation like this, where it's a medical dealing with your parent.
Yeah, there's a lot of the similarities with how you would treat your own young child, a toddler or something like that, with this situation too, or a spouse. And it goes back to just lead with love and patience. Make sure that you have that compassionate detachment. So sometimes it helps by naming the disease in your mind. So this is not my mom, this is Alzheimer's. And that will help prevent some of that, the anger that starts to build up.
Great tip there. And effective communication is really key when it comes to dealing with something like this. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
You can find all this info on bloomtampabay.com. Stay with us. Bloom will be right back.